All right, let's learn how to vibrato. First of all, we need to know what vibrato actually is. Vibrato is the fluctuation of the pitch from the note, bending it down, and then going back up. It is not going from the note up, and then going back down. Because then what you end up with is something really, really wide and not very pleasant to listen to. And you lose all sense of where the pitch actually is. So remember that vibrato is going from the pitch, bend it down, and then go back to the pitch itself. Okay, don't go past the note. Very, very important. All right, so for vibrato, the typical problems that we typically have with students is sometimes they just have one speed of vibrato and that's it. A lot of times that speed is really, really fast, very narrow, very quick, and it's what I like to call caffeinated vibrato. And honestly, it's not very pleasant to listen to. So with vibrato, what we want to do is be able to have in full control of our fingers at all times. You need to be able to control the width of your vibrato as well as the speed of your vibrato. So we're going to learn a couple different tricks to help you learn vibrato, first of all, and then if you already know how to do vibrato, to kind of refine that vibrato so that you have a lot more control over what you're doing. First exercise that I'm going to show you is what's called metered vibrato. Okay, metered vibrato. If you are not familiar with vibrato, one of the exercises that I would probably first have you do is just do this. Go up and down on the string on all four fingers, okay, except for bass. Bass, you don't ever use your third finger, so don't worry about that one for you guys. But go up and down just to get used to this motion of going up and down the string, and eventually you can start to make it narrower and narrower until you kind of get to one, okay? There's two different schools of thought as far as the type of vibrato a lot of times, especially with violin and viola players. There's the concept of sort of more wrist vibrato or arm vibrato. I'm more of a wrist person, but to me, it's not actually even coming from the wrist. To me, the movement of vibrato kind of comes from here. And then because my hand is attached to the rest of my arm might kind of move a little bit. Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily say that you can't move your arm if you're doing this type of vibrato. If you have a private teacher and your private teacher is telling you something else, go ahead and just do that, okay? Please don't mess up what you're already learning with your private teacher, but if not, this is the way that I typically like to do vibrato, not quite so much arm movement for me, okay? For the basses and the cellos, for you guys, it's also a rocking motion, okay? And there's also the different schools of thought as well with just how much you're going to move your wrist and your arm. For you guys, same idea. I would like it more to be a rocking motion this way. Okay, and for you especially, really make sure you don't go past the note. Okay, go to the note and then back, to the note and back. Okay, all right, so this metered vibrato, what you need is a metronome, of course. Okay, and what we're gonna do is you're gonna set it so that it's on quarter notes, and then you can subdivide eighth notes if you want. And to start, I would probably go a little bit slower. So right now I'm at 60. And what I'm going to do is on the beat, I'm going to be on the note. And then when it's the and, I'm going to be off the note. Now notice how my movements are very, very smooth. So it's not this. Not jerky movements. The whole thing should kind of, if it was a wave, be really smooth with rounded corners. Okay? And you want to practice this with all of your fingers. And I would typically also make sure that you know how long you want to go for. So here we'll go ahead and just do, let's say, 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now, obviously, this vibrato is very, very slow right now. You wouldn't actually do vibrato this slow, but it's just to get that movement in your fingers, in your hands. Okay. Very important. Please make sure that when you are doing your vibrato, that you're moving straight along with the line of your string. Okay, you don't want to be making circles or going sideways. Okay, it's, if you play guitar vibrato is a totally different deal. And then as you kind of get used to this metered vibrato, you can start going a little faster. And then go even faster. And you're going to hit a point where it's going to be kind of ridiculous. Where that's too many clicks to listen to. It's kind of dumb. So after I kind of reach about like 220-ish, I like to bring it back down and then just think of 16th notes instead. So now I can think about 1 eana, 2 eana, 3 eana, 4 eana, so it becomes like this. All right, so you want to be able to do everything from really slow to really, really fast with the metered vibrato and everything in between. Because, again, the point is to try and be able to be in full control of your fingers at all times with the speed. Okay, so that's metered vibrato. Second exercise, I like to call just slow to fast. That's going from nothing and then really slow to as fast as you can. I like to pair this with an exercise with your hand as well, your right hand, where you're doing a crescendo as you go. So by the time you get to the end, you want to be as fast as you can. Be very careful. Don't just go from slow and then fast right away. You want to get everything in between, okay? And this is actually very, very useful for your music because you can create a lot of shapes with your notes, especially with crescendos. So this is a good crescendo exercise as well. So go from nothing to really fast. So I just call it slow to fast. All right. And then another exercise I like to do is what I call the jolt. And this comes in handy when you have accents. And that's where you have this, it's almost like this jolt of electricity at the very, very beginning, really fast, really narrow, and then you go back into doing whatever regular vibrato you have. It really helps your accents. A lot of times, usually we think about accents being just your right hand, but if you let your left hand to help you to create that sort of little jolt of electricity, it makes your accents pop out even more. All right, so those are your 3 exercises that I wanted to show in this video. Metered vibrato, make sure you guys are using a metronome. You've got the slow to fast. And you can even do fast to slow, honestly. And then you have your jolt exercise. So try those 3 out. And if you do them every day a little bit, you're going to find that you are able to do your vibrato in ways that you haven't before. So good luck.